Water is good for your soul and for your brain. Fun fact, did you know that I feel drunk when I drink too much water? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with a new segment of my nervous system series, and this segment is called Nervous Tissue. This nervous system series is brought to you by my personal company that is called QuickSchool. For those of you who are new to my channel, you can register as a student with my QuickSchool program by using the Google form link contained in the description box. For returning students, you can Venmo or Zelle me for full access to my study materials. Also, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below to tell me what I can improve on and what you would like to see from me in terms of future content. In my last video, I talked about the basic structures and functions of the nervous system and how those basic structures and functions can be organized. We learned about a variety of different ways to look at the nervous system, including some differences between the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. In this lecture, I will be exploring a series of questions which I have outlined in the description box. I must warn you that this lecture is heavily vocabulary based. However, if you take the time to understand each of the vocabulary words that I have outlined in this lecture, you will definitely have more intelligent conversations about the nervous system in the future. What is the basic structure of a neuron? Neurons, as I said in my last lecture, are cells that are responsible for carrying electrical and chemical information throughout the nervous system and make thoughts, automatic reactions, and physical movements possible. What do we remember from the basic structure of a neuron from the last lecture? We know that the soma means the cell body of a neuron, and axon is the main process of a neuron that releases chemical signals to dendrites of target cells, and dendrites are processes that extend from the soma and receive signals from other neurons. By the way, the purple circle in the soma represents the nucleus of the neuron. The new vocabulary that we are going to explore includes the axon hillock, also known as the initial segment, axoplasm, cell polarity, myelin, node of Ranvier, axon terminal, synaptic end bulb, and synapses. Let's start with the axon hillock. The axon hillock, also known as the initial segment, refers to the part of the axon that emerges from the cell body. At the axon hillock, the cytoplasm turns into axoplasm, which is really just cytoplasm with special properties that is contained in the axon. Cell polarity. Cell polarity refers to the single direction which chemical signals proceed through the neuron. This movement of chemical signals starts at the dendrites, enters into the soma, moves down the axon, and signals continue through to the next target neuron. Myelin. Myelin is an insulating substance that acts like rubber that insulates an electrical wire, except myelin insulates electrical signals passing through the axon of a neuron. Nodes of Ranvier. There are gaps in the myelin which are called nodes of Ranvier, and this feature is crucial to the way that electrical signals travel down the axon. Nodes of Ranvier speed up the electrical signals that travel through the axon by way of saltatory conduction. I will speak more on saltatory conduction in my action potential segment of the nervous system series. Axon terminal. The axon terminal refers to the branched end of an axon. Synaptic end bulbs. Synaptic end bulbs describe the enlarged ends of the axon terminal branches that communicate chemical information to the dendrites of the target neuron. Synapses. Synapses are the areas where the synaptic end bulbs of one neuron contact the dendrites of a target neuron. What are the different types of neurons on the basis of polarity? One of the ways to classify neurons is by how many processes are attached to the neuron's body. As you can see from this picture, the names of neurons can tell you a lot about the structures of those neurons. A unipolar neuron is one that has exactly one process that includes both the dendrites and the axon. It is considered unipolar because information flows from one end of the process, the dendritic end, to the other end of the process, the axonal end. Human unipolar cells can have axons that split and can extend over very large distances. Human unipolar cells are essentially sensory neurons that have two characteristics. Unipolar neurons' dendrites receive sensory information from sometimes the stimulus itself, like in skin cells. And the cell bodies of unipolar neurons are always found in ganglia. Ganglion, as you may remember, are the clusters of cell bodies that are found within the peripheral nervous system. Bipolar cells have two processes that protrude in opposite directions. One end is the dendritic end, and the other is the axon. Bipolar neurons are mainly found within olfactory epithelium, which is where smell stimuli is sensed. Or bipolar neurons can also be found within the retina, which is located in the eye. Multipolar neurons are all other neurons that are not unipolar or bipolar. These neurons have one axon and very many dendrites. Some research studies the exact nature of multipolar neurons that have axons that blend in with dendrites because those axons are so short and unidentifiable. However, neurons that look like they have multiple processes are automatically classified as multipolar neurons. Neurons can also be classified by what they do, who found them, where they are found, or by what chemicals those neurons use to communicate with each other. An example would be the Purkinje neuron cell, which is found in the cerebellum. These Purkinje cells were named after the scientist who discovered them, Jan Evangelista Purkinje. A fun question to think about. What neurons are firing in my head when I hear voices? When I hear voices in my head, I suspect that the neurons that are responsible for my auditory hearing senses are firing at random times. And as I can attribute these voices to people from my past or my present, I am assuming that the neurons that are responsible for my memory are also firing at random times. Let's get back to the vocabulary. Glial cells. Besides neurons, glial cells make up the rest of the nervous tissue, and neurons and glial cells together can be called neuroglia. Glial sounds like glue, which means you can remember what glial cells do by remembering that glial cells basically glue neurons together. Here, I am inserting an image directly from my class notes. By the way, CSF stands for cerebral spinal fluid. As you can see, there are 4 types of neuroglia in the central nervous system and 2 types in the peripheral nervous system. Take a moment to understand the functions of each of the neuroglia. By the way, if you decide to buy my student package, you will have full access to all of my anatomy and physiology notes in the form of presentation slides, as well as Google Docs that I have compiled notes for these educational videos. To summarize, we learned in depth about the structural features of a neuron and what different types of neurons exist. We also learned in depth about glial cells and how glial cells provide unwavering support for neurons. Overall, we went over a lot of vocabulary, so I tried to break up the information on the vocabulary in variable chunks and in variable styles so that it would stay in your head. In preparation for my test on this segment, I would suggest paying attention to where each of the neuroglia are found, i.e. within the peripheral nervous system or in the central nervous system. Kill that test and tell me how you did in the comment section below. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button to tell me that you want to see more of my educational content. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.